I wouldn't want to see this fall down, because this is where I grew up, and like it's a sin to lose this history and this culture or what we got here, because it's a different lifestyle altogether what we're growing up in today, and the people need to know it and needs to get that out, because there's not much left all over Newfoundland and Labrador now. And then you come in here like you're walking back in time and going to the old buildings and staying in actual old cottages that was here right from the 1800s. That's like this building we're in here now. This one was built in the 1800s. So it's really old. As you see some of the names on the buildings and stuff like that. If my father come back now and see what's going on there now, he'd be blown away.
So a group of people get together from Lodge Bay, Mary's Harbour, St. Louis, and they start the restoration here. And I was so happy because the church was the first building they did. Now, over 20 some odd years later, I mean, we're cooking and serving in the salmon shed.
The church was the first building that we restored. There was 20-something of us here, like, was trained. That's with the heritage carpentry course. But it was 3 or 4 of us that done the 9-month carpentry course too as well. People thought, oh, we're going to get the church done, and that was a wonderful thing. But they never thought this was going to turn out like this. Oh yeah, we were flat out every day then. It was 3 or 4 groups. There was 2 or 3 buildings every summer getting done. The 2 or 3 groups, it's like so many here in a group, 5 and 6 in a group, doing buildings, making windows. Some of them making windows. Some more be at the siding, some more be at the shingle. That's the way it was. And the wharf was on the go-to as well. So everything was all getting done one time. Like inland, the wharf was getting done, the windows were getting made, the shingles. Like a lot of stuff was made here now. And we'd open for the public here in '97.
Alive, because I can't trap is full of live fish. I cut the throat, slit the belly, slide it down to this guy. Guy number 2, he's strong. He's the guy.
So we'll have everybody coming to church. I hope you can play the organ.
You walks into that door, there's 2 big old codfish.
Oh,
and a little boy stood up between, yeah. That's little Victor Croucher. And that picture was taken here in this building right here.
So someone had to be ashore watching the fish all the time. So most of the fish drive by the independent fishermen here at Cruise were drive by the women and children. They stayed ashore and watched the fish while the men went out fishing.
Another hole in the wall. So we got a hole in the floor, we got a hole in the wall. So that fish bone, that sound bone, would fly out through that hole, and before it hit the water, he's doing another one.
This is where we're at there now, right here. This is Battle Harbour right there. This is where we're at there. That's tip of Newfoundland, you see there. That's where you came across this way on the ferry, eh? Yep. Yeah. And this is where we're at there now. And this was all little fishing communities all along Labrador coast. That's how many was. Like a lot of these here had to come Battle Harbour for supplies. That's why so much stuff here. Like all the salt was there. It was all stockpiled here in Battle Harbour too as well. My name is Nelson Smith, and this is where I grew up in Battle Harbour. And there's about 5 generations of my family from here. And I was also part of the fishery here and part of the restoration right from day one when it started.
Okay, so this is my great-grandmother. She was born here on Big Island, you see here in Battle Harbour. She lived to be 105 months.
Well, like you said, I'm a 5th generation Battle Harbour person. My ancestors came over for fishing. They stayed here, and I've been here every summer. Never missed a summer so far.
For my family to be here in Battle Harbour, well, you see the cutout down there of the Bain Johnson and Company. The guy on the end is my great-grandfather. So Frank Lewis came here from England, and his name is on the beam downstairs here. Frank Lewis, 1873.
That was mostly the way of living for all around Labrador then was fishery. People never went to school in places. They just went to the fishing boats and made a living from the fishing. When I got home enough to go into the boat, that's where I went fishing. I used to stand up on the backs, cutting trouts and cutting the fishing net. So we didn't get much time playing around after we got older because we had to be in the fishing boat. If I wasn't there on the wharf, my father would be coming around looking for me. Back then, you never ever paid for nothing. Everything was marked into a ledger, and at the end of the season, when you brought your fish in, everything was deducted from your fish. And if you were lucky, you broke even. If you didn't, you go in debt. The next year, you come back, try to pay off your debt.
Growing up here, you was never bored. There was lots of things to do. We didn't even know what the word bored meant. You had lots of chores to do at home, but also for not only for your family, you would do it for anybody that would need help. They would say, come in, I need you to make a bit of bread for me. I think I was 9 years old when I made my first lot of bread, and still making it today.
This is a game that they played ever too called Skittles. The bowling ball is made from ligament vitae. Really heavy. It's not very round though.
No, it's
It depends. You probably throw it, it go like this. Huh? Anybody ever see a codfish ear?
I didn't even know codfish had ears.
That's codfish ear. A codfish got 2 in his head, 1 on each side of his head for balance.
Actually, this here in the bottle, this is seal's oil. It's pretty clear. Seal's oil. You said you could deep fry in it, like fish dough cakes and that. You put it in this and you could not taste the oil on them. I never ever tried it, but.
And a quintal fish is 112 pounds. It takes 75 pounds of salt then 112 pounds. And it takes 225 pounds of round fish to get that 112 pounds. All the salt was sold to the fishermen by the hog's head. Yeah, hog's head is expression of weight is around 650 pounds in a hog's head.
20 years weighing codfish. 112 pounds on that side, 2 weights, 56 is on that side. Of course, you balance it out with codfish on this side. Yeah, but we always call it cantle of fish, or I think the right thing is quintal.
There might be a fella stood up here with an armful of fish. That's what with an armful of fish, that's called a yaffle. Yaffle.
Okay.
A yaffle of fish is 7 or 8 fish in your arm.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is. Like I might, when they full boats and stuff like that, people passing around, I have 7 or 8 fish I yaffle, and I could throw that yaffle to you and you throw them to someone else. 3 groups of people that was fishing here in Battle Harbour. One was called the stationers. The stationer is the ones that came from Newfoundland, and they lived in little shacks and stuff like that, a little house made for the summer. They stayed there for the summer, but they left and went home in the fall. That's what they call stationers. And then you had another group that came by schooner. They came here in the schooner and they tied up their schooners here in Battle Harbour, and they went fishing from the smaller boat, but they lived aboard the boat and sold the fish aboard the boat. And they left in fall year with everything again. But they had to give merchant probably some fish to pay for their supplies through the summer. They were called floaters. That's what I mean. And another group was here was liviers.
Liviers?
Liviers.
Okay.
That's like my family because they were living here all year round. Yeah,
okay.
they used to live here.
Okay.
Right? Like this building here that we're in here now, this building is called the flour store. This is where they kept all the dry goods like flour, sugar, potatoes and stuff like that in this building. And the top floor of this building, where they sold beans, peas, rice, and rope, and red ochre, pitch. Everything like that was sold up on the top floor. This is a red ochre. Or this way I telling you down there earlier what the buildings are painted with. When you're here, just touch the beams when you comes in. Just feel them. That's the reason the wood is lasting so long. It's saturated with brine and salt. This building is called the salt store. Oh, okay. This one. I'll bring you in on this floor just to give you an idea how big it is in here. And this floor here was completely filled with salt right to the ceiling.
Actually, they're well balanced, filled with salt.
But are they heavy?
Oh, got to be heavy because I mean,
Really heavy, so you had to put the salt in it and then.
every one of them got a little handle on the back here. You turn the handle and the front would open up on the hinges. And the salt would just pour out. It's called a flake. This is where the fishermen that worked for the merchant tried to dry the codfish. Like I said, tried to dry the codfish. Now this was the merchant flake. This is a very small portion we built back to what this flake looked like. This flake here covered that whole field, right on down around here. Took you 3 or 4 good windy sunny days. Now it was no trouble to get 4 windy days, but the sunny part was the problem.
And this plane came here in 1976. This one.
Oh.
She came here in 1976, going around checking these weights from the merchant. And when she came here, the fog came in. This was a float plane, it was, landing and takeoff. When she came here, the fog came in, and she took off and went around the back of the hill, and she wouldn't high enough to clear the hill, and she crashed on the back of the hill. And no one didn't know she was there. She was there 3 days before anybody found her. And the fellas that found her, one fella was 10 years old and one fella was 11 years old. And the fella that was 11 years old who found her was me.
It was you?
Me.
You found it.
I was one that found it.
Wow.
I was 11 years old.
In the winter time, and we bring our firewood in here. We come in on snowmobiles like this, and you can see like sometimes there's not very much snow on the hills, and some more times it's covered. So we bring it in.
Oh yes, a dangerous job fishing, no that was.
Yeah, yeah. On your fingers and hands and.
No, usually what you're doing, you're putting your knife down. When you draw the knife back, sometimes you.
Right.
Right there, usually right there, or right here.
Yeah. Oh, that's a bad one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that struck me being here is our tour guide lived here as a child, and to have that heritage, you know, brought forward to you by someone that's actually lived here and experienced it firsthand. There's nothing like it. It's not like going to a museum. You got to experience somebody that, you know, this is what they did.
Interestingly enough, the people I've spoke to talked about the hardships, but it was matter of fact. This is the way we lived. Yeah, it was cold. It was cold. We needed firewood. You know, I woke up in the morning and the kettle was froze solid because we couldn't use wood overnight. You know, we just kept the wood for the daytime while we were in the cabin. It was really just a very matter of fact. This is how we lived, which was fascinating.
I think all Canadians know about the cod fishery, but to come to this island and see a part of the experience of the cod fishery and how it was done, and
it's definitely different. It's got its own fingerprint.
Maybe next year I come back. Yeah, return. Yeah.